ran past this other post, right? And one guy, I don't know his name off the top of the head, and I feel bad about this because he put out some really good content. I see some of his content. He does breakdowns on the game and show where the screen comes from, the weak side screen, and all that good stuff. I think that he does a great job with his content, so I feel terrible about not remembering his name. But he posted this video. He posted this video to show the evolution of basketball, right? So he used Chris Bosh as an example. And Chris Bosh, Chris Bosh was a very versatile forward, as we all know. I got a chance to watch him in Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech, he was bringing the ball up the court sometimes. He was crossing the guys over. I seen him in an All-American game. And he carried that same game to the league with the Raptors. He was a 21-10 guy. Really good player, right? So he compared the skill set of Chris Bosh to Naz Reid, right? Naz Reid obviously is not a decorated forward as Chris Bosh in this moment of his career, but the skill set was completely different. Like some of the stuff that Naz Reid is doing with the basketball is guard-like. It's guard-like. He's moving, he's shaking, he's doing his thing. He's hitting shots or whatever, but not as consistent as Chris Bosh. So I wanted to go look in the comments. I wanted to see what people were saying. So I look in the comments and people like, man, you don't know basketball. This is a terrible take. Even Richard Jefferson was in there and was like, you just don't know how good Chris Bosh was. And I don't think it was a matter of comparing the two players. I think that's the thing about sports. Everyone feels like everything needs to be a debate. Like he wasn't comparing the actual players. He was comparing like, yo, Chris Bosh was a premier player and he was a stretch forward. Look at Naz Reid. He's also a stretch forward, but he has a significantly less role than Chris Bosh did on a championship team. But look what he can do with the ball. Look how the role players has evolved since then. And that's how he was kicking it. And it's so crazy to me that people, I keep saying this, man, and the reason why I say this is because I truly believe basketball is a training ground for the real world. The way you think on the court impacts the way you think off the court. If you're a competitive person, you're going to be competitive in other areas in your life that you care about. If you understand team work ethic and all that good stuff, that can translate into your real life. So when people can't understand a conversation versus a debate, that can translate into real life. Like, it's amazing to me that when the people in my comments, my DMs, I'm talking to them, all they want to do is debate. You like, bro, I'm having a basketball conversation with you. We just talking. And the fact that they took this whole clip of this guy's, or the clip he put out there of Naz Reid and Chris Bosh as a head-to-head, it was insane. I'm like, what y'all missing? He not even saying nothing about Chris Bosh. He didn't compare. He just literally used Chris Bosh because Chris Bosh was probably one of the most, I want to say that one of the only forwards at that time that was like doing the stuff that he was doing, handling the basketball, shooting the way he was doing, step backs and whatnot. And he just compared his skill set. So just one of them things, man. We got to get out of that, man. Just because it's sports don't mean that everything needs to be a debate. Everything doesn't need to be a debate. You got any questions for me over there? I see you revving up the mic.
That's crazy. Yeah, so I was wondering, would you rather have an elite defense or an elite playmaking if you was building your own team?
Elite playmaking. Like, are you saying in one person or just a team?
In one person, like your the head of the snake.
Elite playmaking. Yeah, you want elite playmaking. Because one thing I know from coaching, if you got a player on the court that understands the game, that understands pace, that understands how to get the ball in the hot hand, that understands when to shoot, when not to shoot, understand time and score, and it has the ability to make plays, you're gold. Defense, we can teach the other four guys how to play defense. I could teach. I could teach a team defense, but when it comes to this, when it comes to making a play, that's hard to teach. Is like, I mean, you ever try to herd cats? You ever try to herd cats? Like, you ever try to get cats all and walk them in the same direction at the same time?
Nah, I never tried that.
You can't. You can't. So trying to teach someone how to be a playmaker at an older age is like herding cats. You better off herding cats. You better off racing a car. You get what I'm saying? So for me, it's like I'd rather the playmaking ability than the defense, for sure.
Now, next question I have for you. What matters more, the best player or the best system?
Best system. Yeah, best system, man. Because listen, I believe it was John Solly. John Solly said this about LeBron. If he was in a better system, if he had a system that he can rely on, he would have won more championships. A system wins, like Phil Jackson's system won a lot of championships, right? Phil Jackson won without Jordan. You get me? Because of the system. Once he implemented the system, Jordan became a championship player. Like when people lose, like good players, like Allen Iverson lost to the Lakers. Yes, the Lakers were better, but it was a system that they relied on to keep everybody in check. You got two players that's shooting 22 shots a game. A system can only control the other four or the other three on the court. You get me? LeBron, for the most part, didn't lose to like actual players. He lost to a system that you couldn't really defend at the time. 4 or 5 guys on the court shooting threes. We've never seen it before. That's a system. Tim Duncan, Ginobili, Parker, these guys averaging 17 points a game and still winning championships. Nobody on the team averaging 27 points. System. That's a system.
I want to harp on that Phil Jackson take because I hear Phil Jackson with the championships that he won. He had Michael Jordan and Kobe.
No, you need the players. Mm-hmm. You need the players. You need some players that understand big moments, understand how to hit some big shots. But those same players don't always hit big shots in the big moments. They miss. You know what I mean? They make mistakes. Some nights the defense get the best of them. That's there. But a system, you can rely on other things. You can rely on a Scottie Pippen. You can rely on, I mean, obviously Kobe and Shaq was like Batman and Superman. So, but yeah, one can rely on the other. You need those players. David Robinson, Tim Duncan. You need those players for sure. Tony Parker won the Finals MVP in 2007. That's a system that's pushing that. You know what I mean? So it's like you need the players. I'm not trying to I don't care what system you have. You don't got the players. You don't got the players. You know what I mean? I could be the greatest coach in the world, but if a kid can't hit a jump shot, ain't nothing we can do. We had the tallest kids on the team or in the tournament. They can't make a layup. It ain't gonna work. So
another last question.
Go keep shooting.
I have for you was, who was a system player fans pretend is a superstar? I know you got Tim Duncan, so I want to X that out already. You got to give me somebody else.
I'm not gonna say Tim Duncan wasn't a superstar. He was a superstar. But I don't think he was a bigger star individually. If you take away the system, I don't think he was a better superstar than Kevin Garnett. If you take him out of the system, you know what I mean? They head-to-head matchup is identical with the exception of maybe 1 rebound or 1 point or some shit like that. But I don't think he was I think he's a superstar. He was a superstar. Draymond's in there. Yeah, Draymond in there. If we talking system players who fans think they're superstars, like I was like highly shocked to see people come to Draymond's defense against Kenyon Martin. I was shocked. I was like, damn, y'all really believe like But the Warriors, like he wasn't with the Warriors. Y'all really believe like he would have been the same guy somewhere else? Y'all would have accepted him to somewhere like Washington Wizards average 8, 5, and 5 and 5. Y'all accepting him over there? Oh yeah, we gotta get our tickets ready to go see Draymond. Like, and ain't no offense. Like, I like for me, I can't offend no NBA player, bro. You made it to the NBA. You somewhere I've never been. I never was even close to scratching the surface with. Like, but I'm just keeping it a buck. You know, we talking as fans. You know what I mean? Like, so I think Draymond is one of them. I think people say Ginobili would have been a superstar. I don't think Ginobili would have been a superstar outside of that. Here's the thing. Oh, what was your question?
I was going to ask you, what makes you say that?
Well, here's the thing for Ginobili, right? I think he was a good player, but he also was a six man, right? So as a six man, you coming off the bench, you playing against the second unit too, against other teams. So your points and the things you're doing, you're scoring, some of them are coming against the second lineup. You're not coming against this. And then he was like a 25, 26 scorer. He was a 17-point scorer. He was a great X factor. Like, that's what a system is, man. Like, I promise you, like, for you guys who've never played in a system, I'm gonna enlighten you. When my freshman year, I was in junior college, right? I averaged 19 points. But we had some ballers. We had some hoopers. I wasn't even a leading scorer. Somebody else was averaging 25 points. Then right after me, somebody was averaging 17 points. That's how good the team was. That's how fast we played. I went to another junior college. That was a better junior college, believe it or not. Better junior college, better coached, everything. Had about 6 Division I players on that team. I want to say 6 Division I players. And nobody averaged more than 12. Everyone played. We had 5 in and 5 out, a platoon system. Everyone played. Nobody averaged more than 12 points. That's a system. That doesn't necessarily mean we couldn't have, but because the system was so tight, it hid all of our flaws. Some of the guys on the team probably could never average 20 points at another junior college. Like I had one guy on the team, he was just a pure shooter, just a shooter. Couldn't put the ball on the ground with his left to save his life. But because he was surrounded by so many guards who can penetrate the gap and his shots themselves, it left him open a lot of times in the corner. He averaged about 11 points. So stuff like that, when people talk about the system and being a superstar in the system is completely different, bro. A superstar, he put a team on his back. That's the dude you pay to go see. I remember going to pay to go see Kobe Bryant. That was different. You got a question?
So, how important is it? I'm trying to figure out. Nikola Jokic, he was drafted. I'm trying to figure out what number he was drafted in. Was he second round, first round?
I can't remember. That was 2015. Mm-hmm. That was 10 years ago.
Nikola Jokic was drafted 41st overall. Now, was it the system that made him a star, or do you think that he would have been a star no matter where he went?
I think the culture makes him a star, right? Here's the thing about these foreigners. Like, it's not too many that come in that we like, yo, I can't wait to see him play because we don't know anything about him. Like a guy like Luka, he come in and make a splash immediately, right? But a guy like Giannis or Jokic, they can come in and just come under the radar and just sneak in. There's no expectation. When you get that draft pick, you 41st draft pick. Nobody cares. Nobody thinking about who you going to be in 5 years, 6 years, because we don't know your story. We don't know your background. So for me, I think the foreign players, they get time to develop without pressure, right? And you start to see some glimpses, some success, and you're like, yeah, 15 points, man, yeah, okay, geez, 15, 12, and 7, who's this kid, Nikola? And then you don't put no weight on them either. Like now, because at that point, they're trying to build around them. Let's get them a couple players. Get them a couple players. Oh, this is a good team. But then over time, he becomes the man. Man, he scored 50, 12, and 12. Yo, now you got to do it all the time. You get me? But he had 7 to 8 years to develop into the star versus a Cooper Flag versus the LeBron, any of these guys who come in number one, immediately we're looking at them like, where they at? What you gonna do is first year, had 2 points, had 7 points. So when it comes to stuff like that, it's one of them things of they got time to develop.
Nah, I feel like I ask you this all the time, but when do you write off? When do you feel like, all right, let's write off this this player and start focusing on another player? Because 7, 8 years seems like a pretty long span to see a player develop. Mm-hmm. But then some players get written off within the third, second year maybe. So when do you, like, how do you determine as a coach, all right, I'm going to write out this player, even if he's going through a tough patch, rough year, all right, I'm going to write him out.
Well, I think you got to give it grace, right? My grace period for especially a professional, 3 years. 3 years. But you should already be seeing like glimpses of it, right? Like one thing about basketball or sports in general, you can be working hard behind the scenes and you really don't see the end product until a year later, 2 years later. But as a coach, I can see the work ethic in practice. I see the work ethic after practice. I come in early and I'm putting the practice plan on the board. Who's in here working on a jump shot? Who's in here working on a handle? That shows that you see that as a coach, a GM. It's kind of hard to go in your office and say, yeah, we got to get rid of him soon. Look at him working hard. You get me? So, like, but 7 years, I wouldn't wait 7 years. I'm just saying when the cola start really shining in a public eye, like, or on a major platform, I mean, 7 was kind of long, but we'll say like 4 or 5 years in where we started expecting him to be the person every night. Yeah. So, but I did want to talk about some of the players who, like, because we was talking about overrated players. And I did want to talk about some overrated players right now. I think Zion Williamson is an overrated player, but not because he's not a good player. Because I don't like this. The word overrated gets thrown out of context too much. Overrated as in, here's a guy who's been battling his weight, injuries, etc. Why are y'all still hoping that this guy averages 30 points, 29 points? Why are you trying to run the offense through him? I think a guy like Zion Williams is a 17-point, 20-point scorer, if that. I think 20 is like even pushing it. Not to say that's his limit. I think that's the most impactful for the team. What I mean by that, he can average 17 points without the offense going, 17 to 20 points without the offense going through him 100% of the time. You get what I'm saying? Or if 80% of the time. He can get that. He can get those type of points from running the floor, hitting some shots, grabbing some offensive rebounds. And then, yes, there'll be nights where he's just hot and we just got to keep feeding him the basketball. But I think guys like that is an overrated guy. Paolo Banchero. Paolo Banchero. Paolo Banchero. Listen, bro, he just got an extended rookie max contract. He hasn't played for a lot of the season. I understand. I'm giving him his rhythm. I know he got to get some rhythm under him. But, right now he's averaging 20 points. Team is already doing good without him. Y'all made it seem like, if Paolo Banchero is going to be the next guy, he's going to take it. Nah, like, I think he's also a guy who can run in a system. If you get a strong system for Orlando, you got Bane who won the ball. You got Wagner who wants the ball. I think Wagner still out? He's still out? Well, hypothetically speaking, if Wagner wasn't injured, you got the guy Black, who's pretty good. Snugs. And I think you got a good, strong core. You don't got to put all the weight on Paolo Banchero. You just don't have to put all the weight on him because is not necessary. LaMelo Ball. Like, I'm a LaMelo Ball fan. Yes, I am, but he's not always serviceable. People are like, you got to get him out of there. Like, he needs more respect. Nah, he doesn't. He needs to be right where he is. That boy Con Kneppel he's showing off. Miles Bridges, even Brandon Miller. I think they got a good core group if they can balance it out. But that's going to come with maturity. Those guys are still young. Con Kneppel is a rookie. These guys are still young. So, and they haven't experienced winning yet. So they're still trying to figure out how to win. So you don't need LaMelo Ball at the head of your snake, and you're trying to make him a winner. You're trying to make him a winner. No, he hasn't won yet. Jaren Jackson. Jaren Jackson's also overrated. He's averaging 17 points and 5 rebounds as standing at 6'10". The 2 years prior to this year, so last year and the year before, he's averaged 22 points. That means he's averaging 5 points less without Ja Morant in the lineup. Now, obviously, Ja Morant might have something to do with the 5 points because his pressure he puts on the defense. But still, I expect more than 5 rebounds. Like 5 rebounds, you're not even giving it 110% at 6'10". You know, so I think he's overrated right now. Miles Turner, Milwaukee. Miles Turner gave him $25 million. He's also proven why the Pacers didn't give him that extra $5 million or $3 million, averaging 12 points and 5 rebounds. Giannis been out most of the time. He's also playing around 22 to 23 minutes a game. 22, 23 minutes a game. That means you paying him $1 million a minute. You know what I'm saying? So it's like those guys are overrated to me. You know, when it comes to actually being when it comes to being an actual player and standing on business for the check, those guys is overrated to me.